Okay, today I want to take a look at some recent pickups and some things I've been doing over the last couple of weeks. This is the keyboard I needed. I've got another Sega Terra Drive keyboard, and there was keycaps missing. So unfortunately, because these obviously keyboards are quite rare, I happened to find another keyboard. This one doesn't actually work, but it's got some decent keycaps on it. It looks pretty good. The shells are pretty good. So obviously this was purchased by me to harvest for parts. This is the complete keyboard. I'm going to a little bit of retro brighting to do there. Some of the keycaps need to do with a bit of a birthday, but at least I've now got a complete working and fully functional and nice Terra Drive keyboard there to go with my Terra Drive. Anything I need now really to complete that setup is the proper monitor for it, but I'm using an LCD at the moment. My next pickup was an Atari 400. Never owned one of these, don't know nothing about it. There's going to be a teardown later on in this video. Cracking, I just love the look of this machine. I love this little access port to put the cartridge in. You know, there's a little aluminium holder. You know, these things were built really substantially back in the day. It's a good testament to why these things have lasted so long. I believe this was released in 1979. It's got a membrane keyboard. There's nothing particularly fancy on it. Some inputs and outputs, power jack, joystick port, stuff like that. So pretty basic. It was in a particular family. There's a bit of yellowing on this. It looks like the casing could do with a bit of retro brighting, but like you say, going to do a tear down later in this video. But really pleased with its condition so far. So we've got the 800. This has obviously got a mechanical keyboard. Room for 2 cartridges there, and there's an access slot at the back for putting on some extra cards and for expansion cards and stuff like that. So that's quite cool. Again, I really love that little case covering. Really makes it nice and tidy and just finishes off the aesthetics of the system. Nothing particularly fancy. Again, quite a bit of yellowing on the back there, so this one definitely needs some retro brighting on the sides. But I'm really clean. It's really clean. I'm quite happy with there's no case damage, no cracks in the plastic, which is really good. So just needs a little bit of TLC, and these are really for future videos. Again, didn't own this particular model either. Tape recorder, player, nothing really fancy about this. Really pleased with its condition. There's not much fluff or crap in it, so it's the owners of these machines obviously really looked after them. There's no corrosion and they've not been stored in a damp place, so I'm really pleased with the condition and overall look of all that. So nicely to add to my collection later on, but again, that one will probably get retro brighted at some point. Little bit of a problem that where the polystyrene has caught the lead, it's just impregnated itself on the actual lead there. A genuine power supply. I probably won't be using this just because A, because of its age, and B, because of it's not a UK power supply. So I will probably buy a dedicated power supply that when I get round to getting that machine up and running, get it tested and get it all fired up. So it'd be interesting to see how that works and what challenges lie ahead for that system. Last couple of weeks I've been saving another Game Gear. I just can't seem to stop myself. I love Game Gears. I just love the technology and the way you can take something that looks absolutely knackered internally and turn it around and turn it back into basically a modern equivalent. All of these Game Gears that I've got LCD replacements. Some of them have got lithium-ion batteries. Some of them not. This is some of the repair work I did inside that particular Game Gear. Like I said, a recap, not with electrolytic caps, with your ceramic type. It's a twin ASIC model, and really tidied that up. It was nice, enjoyed that. One of my disasters over the last couple of weeks was I was playing my Indiana Jones, and it just completely died. The machine, while I was playing it, it went berserk, started firing balls all over the place, and then just coiled over and died. So whether we've got a power issue, whether the transformers overpowered the board and blown something on the board, I don't know. So that's another project to do. My Daytona USA is starting to get on my nerves a bit. I'm not giving it the attention I need to. All the boards are clean. I'm going to use this Ridge Racer marquee. I'm going to get a Daytona decal on there. The original Daytona didn't have, in the single player mode, didn't have a canopy. So that's another project there. This was purchased on a whim. I do own a working one of these, but as we all know, as retro collectors, spares are always an issue. So I bought this. It had got a lot of corrosion around this add-on card. So I've cleaned all that up, give that card a birthday. I took the case off. Can't see anything wrong with it inside. It did come from Japan, and it did take a little bit of a knock on the way, but it's not turned out too bad. But I'm pleased I've got it. I've got it all for spares. I have transferred a few parts over from this one to my other one. The cover around the floppy drives, I've changed that over. Everything works on this, you know, the CD drawer all works okay. You can hear the high voltage power up for the CRT, but it doesn't display an image. So I don't know whether to spend the time and take this apart and see if I can actually get it up and running, or just whether to leave it for spares and repairs. Maybe you should let me know. So this was the bit I swapped over to my fully working model. Quite interesting, that came off quite nice. I changed over because that was scratched there. I want to have one that's all perfect. So this is the that flap removed. I did resin print this little cover. This was one of the reasons for purchasing this model. So this is the little resin cover that I made on my unit, the working unit, but I've obviously just swapped it over to this one. So get the one pop back together. You know, say it seems if I can get it working, maybe I'll get this working. I don't know, just whether I've got the time to be able to invest in it. So this is my good working model. As you can see, that was the flap. I managed to win a remote control. That needed a little bit of TLC. There's a lot of corrosion in that. A mouse, won a keyboard. So yeah, I'm really pleased. That's tidied that unit up brilliantly. So I'm really pleased that all that's come together. And that's now a complete working unit. So I'm really pleased with that sort of stuff. This was a little dot matrix display that I purchased from Super Game Shack in Leicester. There's a guy there that makes these up. Really good. It's a lot brighter in real life. The camera doesn't do it justice, but definitely worth a purchase. That I just had to mention that. It really is quite cool. So next up, the 400 Teardown. Like I say, I've not had one of these apart yet, so be interested to see what was involved in this. So like I say, released in 1979, there's about 4 million units sold. It's quite a considerably well-made unit. It was an 8-bit computer. A little bit fiddly to get apart. It just doesn't want to come that back corner, just really not really wanting to play ball. So it does come eventually. I just don't want to break any plastics off and force it because I'm not familiar with this particular model or generation. I really wanted to take my time. As soon as I got the top off, it did really. I've got a heavy sixer, 2600, the heavy sixer, and it really did pull my nostalgia strings because of that massive aluminium heatsink RF shield that's in the 2600 heavy sixer. And this one's no different. You can see it's obviously running along the same sort of technology. One thing I did notice as soon as I took this off, the speaker is just literally stuck to the back of the membrane, which I find really strange. And as a result, over time, the glue seems to have affected the circuit board and caused some corrosion. So a very weird design choice, just to literally stick the speaker to that. I don't know if that's standard or whether somebody's added a bigger speaker. I don't know. Maybe you could tell me in the comments. But it has caused some corrosion on the back of the membrane. I don't think there's nothing there that can't be sorted out. I think some gentle cleaning up and maybe a little bit of solder, just some quick little solder touch-ups. I don't know. This is the RF can modulator sort of thing. That will go. I think this definitely needs a composite or an RGB or some sort of mod. I'll have to look into this. Definitely easy to do an RF mod. That was the keyboard membrane input. I gather this looks like sort of like some power filtering on the sides in there. That power jack looks like it could do with either changing or cleaning up. There's quite a lot of corrosion on that power jack. That looks like it's going to need some attention. Again, there's the RF tin. That looks easily removable, so I might do a bit of research on that to see what options I've got available. But it does look quite easily, just like a Spectrum and some of the other ones I've done lately. I can do like a composite mod conversion on there, so that's quite nice. So let's get the back off there and get the motherboard out, and let's take a look at the what's going on. Like I say, never been inside one of these, so I'm actually quite interested to see what sort of technology was going on at the time. They are really built to the hilt. I was, you know, was gobsmacked of how much, you know, parts and technology and components they've managed to squeeze into this. But in today's money, this machine would cost probably just over $2,000, which is, you know, like I say, about £1,200, £2,300, so in equivalent money today. So, you know, you can see they were an expensive machine back in the day, but you can see why. You know, the amount of components it took to build it, I think it would probably be more expensive than that today, just, you know, the actual raw materials used. Right, so that's great. We've got the circuit board out. That's the aluminium sort of RF shield, sort of heat shield that they've used. Absolutely massive and incredibly heavy. So these are the chips inside the unit. I'm really pleased that everything's nice and clean. Nothing looks too rusty. Okay, so this system's loosely based on the MOS 6502 CPU, running slightly under 1.8 megahertz, so, you know, quite a nice little machine. That's your cartridge slot. This machine was developed more as a young family's machine, so like it got a wipe-off keyboard and stuff like that. So these little cards that drop into the main board, this one I believe is the 16K sort of add-on memory card for that. This one I believe is the processor board, so, you know, it's got the 3 custom processors there. Yeah, nice and modular. I think it's quite handy that there was some sort of future proofing on there, that you could add different you know, add different things in and have a little bit of expandability, which was quite nice. Overall, I think that, you know, these are quite nice, well designed little board, well built. I think the processor's called an Antic, and then obviously there's a 6502 there, or something loosely based around there. So I'm really pleased that this machine is in reasonably good condition. I'm going to do a follow-up video, you know, clean up this membrane, get things all back together, probably do a recap on it, do a at the minimum do like a composite mod, so it's just nice and easy to connect up. That's the keyboard, like you say, nice and easy, kid-proof, nice wipe-off keyboard, so I can see why they've gone with that, whereas the 800 was the bigger brother. I'm not going to do the 800 teardown in this video. I think it's probably, this video is getting a little bit long in the tooth, so I'm going to leave it there. That's my pickups for this sort of fortnight and what I've been up to. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again in the next video. Bye for now.